Everyone, this is problem number 4 out of the Italian Mathematical Olympiads, and this is the ITAMO, so Italian Mathematical Olympiads of 2012. This is a number theory problem, a pretty nice one. I really enjoyed it, finding the idea, and you can try to calculate some first numbers. After x4 it should be 36 times 41 plus 5, which I calculated before. It's 1481, and x5 is this stuff right here, which is really big, and I am not going to calculate, but it would be kind of pointless. So we need to only reason with x1, x2, x3, x4. Now, first thing which you might want to notice is that no term after xn, which is equal to 3, with n greater or equal to 3, will be a perfect square. Will never be a perfect square. And this is because xn plus 1 is congruent to x1 times x2 and so on, xn plus 5 modulo 3. xn plus 1, so it's congruent to x2 is equal to 9, and so this is 0 mod 3, so to 0 plus 5 mod 3, and so xn plus 1 is congruent to 2 modulo 3. Now the quadratic residues of any number which is modulo 3 should be either 0 or 1. For example, if n is congruent to 0 mod 3, then its square would be 0. To 1, its square would be 1 also. For example, 4 times 4. If it is congruent to 2 mod 3, for example 5, which is 5 times 5, it's 25, which is equal to 8 times 3 plus 1. So this is also 1. So there is no 2 quadratic residue, so xn plus 1 will never be a perfect square. Now, we can use this reasoning again to say that let's assume P divides xi with I smaller than n. Then the equation of xn plus 1 with xn congruent to modulo p, so it would be congruent to x1 times x2 and so on until we get to xy times xy plus 1 and so on until we get xn minus 1 plus 5 modulo p. Now p divides xy, so everything right here is congruent to 0 mod p, and so this cancel out basically, and so xn is congruent to 5 mod p. And now we need to notice that the greatest common divisor between any xy and xj is equal to 5 or 1. This is a direct consequence of that above. And we can also say that no xy will be congruent to 0 mod 5, and this is because let's say that xn is not divisible by 5, is not divisible by 5, so xn plus 1 will be congruent to that all xn that all xy with y being greater than or equal to 1 and smaller than n are not multiple of 5, then xn plus 1 will be x2 and so on until xn plus 5. This is by definition not mod 0. This is mod 0, and so xn will be congruent to this mod 5. And so this proves that no xn plus 1, so no xn is divisible by 5, because xy, x1, x2 and x3 are not divisible by 5. So we know that the greatest common divisor between xy and xj is equal to 5, is equal to 1, pardon. Now, what we can also say is that if we have 2ab with integers, greatest common divisor a and b being equal to 1, the only way for ab to be equal to n squared is to both have a and b to be perfect squares. But we know that after x3 there will be never a perfect square, so our only options are x1, which is indeed a perfect square, and x2, which also is indeed a perfect square. So our answer is only 4 times 9, and so that is equal to 36, and thus is x1 times x2. And this is our solution. We could also say that any xn times xn is a perfect square, but this is kind of pointless. So if you want to include it, you include it, but it doesn't change that much. This is the solution. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and please leave a like.